how do you feel about because the other day when Morell threw his belt at Benavidez after Benavidez pushed him, they
Mhm.
kind of went on the stage and Dave Benavidez was just saying like, we were pushing for VADA testing. These guys were hesitant to do it.
Mhm.
Almost called the fight off. And instead of Morell's team talking about that, they was just saying stuff like, we've been wanting to fight you for 3 years. So like,
Yes.
what do you kind of think about that whole thing? Do you think they are trying to be sneaky and get around it?
Of course. I mean, obviously, it's very, very indicative of somebody that's hiding something. I mean, if you don't have anything to hide at all, why would you be afraid of testing? It's like, yeah, of course, come on and test me.
Mhm.
I mean, it's there's no way other way around it. Why would you not want to get tested
Yeah.
if you have nothing to hide? And it was the same thing with our fight. I don't know how. I feel like the testing is mandatory in Las Vegas for the fights, and I feel like they already some people have a way to get around it because of the influence in there. But the issue of doping is becoming so bad now, at least from what's running through like the underground sources in boxing or like off mainstream, is that it's even seeping into the amateurs, where a lot of them are doing this and finding ways to get around it. And from what I have heard, which is purely still very purely speculative, is that even the Cuban amateur system, a lot of these amateur systems have long done these things. So they come into the pros very well seasoned. And I've done a lot of research into a lot of these PEDs, especially after my fight with the Morell. And the truth of the matter is the effects are cumulative, and some of them, even after like the ability to test for these substances are gone, the effects still remain. So they're able to retain the power that they gain from that, or they're able to retain the speed, or how it enhances their performance. And it's unfortunate that fans take this very lightly because recently with the Ryan Garcia situation, people were making jokes about the whole situation, but I guess somebody wants somebody to die and somebody to be criminally persecuted before they start taking the issue seriously.
Hmm. So with that said, do you give Morel the edge over Benavidez in that fight?
I mean, I try to say, in my heart, of course, I want Benavidez to maul him, of course, in my heart, but I try to keep a level head. And I don't think that the Morell team has played fair from the very first fight they had. I think they've always been dirty. And of course, that is merely my thought, especially based on how, they treated me leading up to a fight. So I personally think that they've always been dirty. And that changes a lot of things because when someone's on juice, like people don't understand. People think that it's just it'll just make them train a little harder. No, like it's look at a natural bodybuilder, a natural bodybuilder's body versus a like a Mr. Olympia that is well known that okay they're all on steroids and whatnot, right? You immediately see the difference. So transfer that to performance, right? And then you look at the performance of somebody that's natural versus somebody that's juiced up, and you can immediately tell the difference. Like it's night and day. I used to think that even if somebody was juicing just because of how hard I trained, it only meant that they would be durable to take more of a beating. So I'm like, okay, so long as they can take giving it, they can keep taking it, I will keep giving it. But the problem is that these guys hit so much harder and have so much more stamina and endurance because of these things that it's almost impossible because they're also not only are they taking these substances, it's allowing them to train even harder. And they actually are training just as hard as you are. And these things are allowing them to train just as hard, hit the bags even harder, recover faster so they can train even more. And so that's why this needs to be investigated more. And especially if, the option has been presented to them and they're so like they're adamant, vehemently refusing, the test, and then there is a problem.
What was that said? Are you, because I know you want Benavidez to win, but as a part of you just like, I want him to win, but I think Morel's going to go in there and probably knock him out.
No, no, I don't think so because Benavidez is no easy. Like he's no slouch. He's proven that he has a chin, And then of course, you looking at Morrell's last performance. I mean, and that's also another thing that I pointed out that he gets away with so much stuff in Minnesota that he fought Rod in California, and the
Mhm.
rules in California are a little different. So you can tell. I wouldn't say his performance was lackluster. No, it was actually good. Considering that he was moving up in weight to face a very solid light heavyweight. But I mean, he didn't have the same pop. He didn't have the same power at light heavyweight, and it was in a different state other than Minnesota, where most of his fights have been, where he usually almost always wins by knockout because they don't do any testing. So, going off his last performance, I don't think that, that his best chance against Benavidez would be landing a hard shot that takes him out. But I definitely don't see that happening. And Benavidez is a volume puncher. I see him just breaking him down and then eventually piling it on him. And he's going to experience things that he hasn't experienced yet. So I still think that Benavidez will take him out regardless.
Okay, now with you saying that, is are you also kind of saying that Morell is a very good fighter, but he's not what everybody seems like? He's not what everybody's cracking up.
I'm saying that Morrell is a very good fighter because obviously you have to be good to have accomplished the things that he accomplished in the amateurs and to have made it this far.
Mm,
But I'm saying that his abilities have been enhanced by other things, which are illegal.
mm.
And these are all my thoughts. I mean, that's what I truly believe. Otherwise, why would you be so adamant about being tested? It's one thing to be good, and it's another thing to take more stuff to even enhance your ability. So we want to see how good you can get naturally. Not anybody can get to a certain level with enhancements or with anything that gives you an unfair advantage over other people. But what are you capable of if it's just left to your ability, just your natural God-given ability, and also your ability to just train and perform.
Now, I know earlier you said that there's certain things with athletes, if they take stuff enough times or if they're taking certain things, even when they stop, it's like they're still gonna like, maintain, that power, that speed, all of that stuff.
Mhm.
On the Benavidez side of things, because you just said that Morell's gonna go through things where he's never gone through in a fight before. Do you expect Benavidez to go through some of those same things? Like he hasn't seen a guy with this type of speed. He hasn't seen a guy with this type of power, enhanced.
I don't think Morrell has like great speed, I don't really even rate his technical ability that much. I think it's pretty normal. It's nothing out of the ordinary. For me though, I think it's his power that the power that he's accumulated from like, whatever, like I say, it's all very speculative. And I think that that's the biggest threat. In terms of like skill and technique, and then being able to like strategically break down Benavides, I just don't see that happening.
Hmm.
So I think that his biggest bad going into this fight will be hoping to land shots that will derail Benavidez, but Benavidez has also proven to have a. I mean, outside of that flash knockdown with Ronald Gabriel, he's proven that yeah, he has a solid chin. That was a flash knockdown,
Yeah.
from a jab. He was all balanced and everything. But outside of that, I really think that he has a solid chin, and he'll be able to take the fight to Morrell and break him down and show him that hey, all that stuff, yeah, doesn't work.
Speaking of a guy with a solid chin, you've always been known to, have a really solid chin for the weight class that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
What did his power feel like? Like I mean, I'm around boxers all the time and they'll tell me different stuff. But what did
Mm-hmm.
his power feel like compared
I
to?
mean, to tell you the truth, once I the
All right, Hans Temestode here with Hot Rod, a 175-pound contender. How you feeling today, man?
I feel good. Just woke up, had some coffee, and feel good.
All right, perfect, man. Love to hear it. So I know when I was talking to you not too long ago, I think you were telling me something about like, you was like starting to get ready to get into camp mode and things like that. Do you have like a fight lined up or are you just like, staying ready so you don't got to get ready?
Yeah, I have a fight February 21st in Liverpool. But when you asked me, when I was talking about the camp, I was saying that I was leaving camp, as in I was in somebody else's camp and I was coming back home. So I wanted to do the interview when I got home. I was in David Morrell's camp.
Very interesting. So did they reach out to you guys? Because you guys just fought. Did they reach out to you and ask for help, or did you reach out to them? How'd that go?
Well, after that fight, I told them I would help him with sparring in the future, and they called me and they wanted me for sparring like
Hmm.
really bad, and I came to help him out. He's really good people.
Okay, so in a situation like that, like what's kind of like how does it go? Because like I've seen like a shit ton of like training camps, things like that. But for like this one, do you go in there and you're just like, okay, every time I spar him, I'm gonna spar acting like I'm David Benavidez, or do you just use your own style in those sparring matchups?
I was using my own style, and I was kind of just a little bit Benavides as a pressuring, but I was using my style because they liked my speed, my movement, because if he can get away from my punches and my awkward style, then I think he would be good with anybody because my style is very different, my jab. So he was just using me just for a good sparring overall.
Was it I mean, you're not gonna say no, it's probably a pretty good paycheck. But was it like kind of weird, helping him because like a lot of people looked at your fight with him and it was just like, oh, we kind of feel like Hot Rod won that fight. You know what I mean? So was it kind of hard for you, or was it just like, business is business?
No, because like I said, he's really good people. He's down to earth. He like we exchange numbers. We're like friends. So it's like no bad blood towards him. And even before our fight, we were friendly. There was no hate. And like I said, he's just good people overall.
How exactly do you expect that fight to play out? I assume that you're gonna take him to win the fight, but like kind of break it down. How does it look though?
I, if he could stay composed and stay calm during the first six straight rounds, because Benavidez, all he has is pressure, and he eventually will slow down. So stay composed, stay calm, pick your shots, and move, box, because he could box and move. Don't be the aggressor. I think he could pull it off, but it's gonna be a close fight overall. I think.
Do you think Morrell actually had a chance to stop him? Benavidez seems like he has a granite chin. He did get stopped. I mean, not stopped, but he did get dropped the one time before, like several years ago. But people keep talking about Dave Morrell's power. Like, do you think he had the chance to stop Benavidez, or
Well, David Benavidez, he's been fighting smaller guys his whole career. He's always the bigger guy. And then when he fought Rosdick wasn't even punching that hard. So I don't know. This will be the first test. We'll see how will Benavidez get hurt, or will he just walk Morell down. This will be a big test for both of them. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how he reacts to punch with guys that are his size punching back. So we'll see.